Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shashidhar from Bennett University. In this video tutorial, I will teach you the cryptographic primitives required for blockchain technology. So we can say that crypto primitives are cryptographic primitives. So why we need cryptographic primitives in blockchain technology? Okay, first we will discuss what are the crypto primitives. Then we can use what the cryptographic primitives in the blockchain. We know that the cryptographic primitives are the basic building blocks of any security protocol or a system. So if you want to secure your network or a system, we need some cryptographic primitives which provides cryptographic services. With help of that, we can secure the network. Let me discuss a few cryptographic primitives that will be used in blockchain technology. We have a services. Okay, we have a security services, like we need to provide authentication, we need to provide confidentiality, data integrity, access control, and non-reputation. So once any security system or a network meets these security services, then we can say that the network or the system is secure. Okay, let me define authentication. First of all, we will discuss what is meant by authentication. We know that authentication is a service which is used to identify the users in the network. So this authentication can be provided using many ways, right? Okay, so we have different types of authentication factors or methods, we can say. The authentication methods are single factor authentication, two factor authentication, and multi-factor authentication. In order to authenticate the users or the system resources, so we have different methods. Okay, let me discuss what is meant by single factor authentication. In the single factor authentication, a mobile user or a user, he can use a password. Okay, so that is a single factor. For example, if you want to log in our mails, so we need to enter our password. Okay, so we are identifying, so authenticating the user based on the password. That is one entity. So single factor authentication. Okay, so the best example for single factor authentication, while logging into the mails, and whenever you are entering, so there may be a pin lock or screen lock, so we can enter the passwords wherever required. So that is single factor authentication. And what is mean by two factor authentication? So we need to authenticate ourselves to the system by using two factor. Along with the password, we need to use one more factor, that is smart cards. Okay, the best example is like debit cards, credit cards. Okay, so what we will do, so if you want to withdraw money in the ATMs, so first we need to enter the password, that is the first factor. Okay, and before that we need to enter the smart card also. Okay, so we are authenticating to the system by using the two factor. Okay, along with the password, we require the smart card. Okay, so that is two factor authentication. Okay, so in some other systems, if you want to provide more security, okay, so at the time the authentication factor may be multi-factor. Okay, so multi-factor is nothing but along with the password and smart card, we will be having some biometric characteristics. Okay, so we are using the password, biometric characteristics, as well as the smart card, then we can say that three factor or multi-factor authentication scheme. Okay, so we have discussed about the authentication. Let me define confidentiality. Okay, confidentiality also one of the security service. Okay, so which is used to keep the information confidential. Whenever we are transmitting the data from sender to the receiver through the network, we need to keep the data secure. Okay, so how this confidentiality can be achieved? So this confidentiality can be achieved by using encryption and decryption mechanisms, right? For this we have the crypto systems like symmetric cryptography as well as asymmetric cryptography. Okay, so in the next slide I'm going to present you what is meant by symmetric and asymmetric. Okay, so here we have discussed the confidentiality service. Okay, next we have one more service, security service, that is data integrity, or we can say that message integrity. Oh, here message integrity is one of the service. Okay, here while sending the information from source to the destination, okay, we need to uh, protect the data, and we should not the attackers, there may be a attackers or intruders in the network, they should not modify the data or they should not read the data. Okay, so that is called integrity, information integrity or data integrity. So this service is required in order to avoid the attacks like passive attacks and active attacks. In the network attacks, classification will be like active and passive. Active attack is nothing but while sending the information from source to the destination, the intruder will tries to modify the data. Okay, so that is attack on the information and attack on the data, that is active attacks. Next we have a passive attacks. While sending the information from sender to the receiver, the intruder just tries to read the data. He tries to intercept or eavesdrops. Okay, so the intruder is trying to know about the data pattern or information pattern, that is passive attacks. So these attacks can be avoided by using the service called data integrity. So in order to achieve the data integrity in cryptography, we are going to use some hash functions along with the crypto systems. Well, we have one more crypto service like access control. Okay, so here we need to understand what is the difference between authentication and access control. So these two security services are different. Okay, so here access control. So access control, like we are giving the privileges to the system sources. So what he can access in a particular computing environment, that is called access control. Authentication is different. Okay, so in any security system, authentication will comes first. Okay, authentication is a service which is used to identify the user. Okay, so after that we are providing the access control. For example, if you want to enter into a college, okay, so at the gate the security people will ask us to provide the identity card. So with help of that ID card, okay, so they will identify so whether the person is belongs to the same college or different college, that is the authentication. Okay, so once the student entered into the campus, okay, for example you can say that the student want to access some computing resources from the computing lab. Okay, so at that time what privileges you will be having, so whether he is a student, whether he is a admin, like that. Okay, so that is access control. There is a difference between authentication and access control that you need to remember. Okay, we have one more security service that is known as non-repudiation. Okay, so here non-repudiation is one of the security service which is used to avoid the impersonation or forgery attacks in the networks. Okay, so non-repudiation service is nothing but a person cannot deny whether he has signed the document. Okay, so like that in the later stages he should not deny, so that is sent by me or that the document is signed by me. Okay, such attacks can be avoided by providing the non-repudiation service, which is also ensures the authentication of the user. So these security services are very important in order to secure the network. Okay, then in order to provide these security services we need some crypto primitives. Okay, so we will start with the symmetric encryption. I said that the confidentiality can be achieved by using the secure encryption as well as decryption systems, or we can say that the secure crypto systems. One of the simplest encryption technique is symmetric encryption. Okay, so here what is mean by the symmetric encryption? You can see the scenario. Okay, so here the sender want to send the message to the party B through a network. You can consider that the network is insecure network. There may be a intruders or attackers. Now how to send the data, how to transmit the confidential data, so that is always challenging. Okay, so in order to provide the data confidentiality or security, we are going to encrypt the data from sender to the receiver through communication channel. Okay, for this we need a encryption as well as decryption. Okay, let me define what is mean by encryption. Okay, so encryption is nothing but the process of converting the plain text or original text into the unreadable form, that is called encryption. Okay, similarly the decryption process. Okay, so the encrypted text will be transmitted across the communication channel. In the receiver end, the encrypted text can be decrypted. Okay, so the process of converting unreadable form into the readable form, that is called decryption process, right? So here we have a terms like plain text. Plain text is nothing but original text, and cipher text. Cipher text is nothing but unreadable form. Okay, so once we have encrypted, we will get the cipher text. Okay, so now here, in order to encrypt and in order to decrypt, we need a key. Okay, secure key. So key is nothing but a piece of information that could be used in order to encrypt or decrypt the information, that is called a key. Okay, so here in symmetric encryption, why it is called symmetric? Okay, so here, in order to encrypt the information as well as decrypt the information, we are going to use same key, same key. So it is called symmetric encryption. So the key is shared between sender and receiver. Okay, so they will use same key in order to encrypt as well as decrypt the information. Okay, so here the plain text will be uh, converted into the ciphertext along with the key. So we can use the particular key in order to encrypt as well as the decrypt. Okay, so you can say that, so there is one disadvantage in symmetric encryption technique. So what is the disadvantage? Okay, so like any of the party, there may be a sender or receiver. Okay, so they will reveal the key to the attacker or a third person. What will happen? So the entire system security will be revealed. Okay, the security of the system will be compromised. So this is one of the biggest drawback in the symmetric encryption, right? So in order to overcome this, we can use the public key cryptography. So let me tell what are the symmetric encryption techniques will be available. The famous symmetric encryption techniques, we have data encryption standard, that is DES, triple DES, RC5, and AES, that is advanced encryption standard, so which provides more security. Okay, so under the advantage of symmetric encryption, so like the complexity. Okay, so the computational uh, power required in order to encrypt as well as decrypt, so which consumes less power. Okay, so which takes the computational time less compared to the asymmetric crypto system, that you need to remember. But we have a disadvantage, like if the key, okay, so we are going to use single key for encryption as well as decryption. If the key will be revealed, that is the biggest drawback. In order to overcome that, we can use symmetric cryptography, asymmetric cryptography. Yeah, okay, so here we have a slide for asymmetric key cryptography. This asymmetric key cryptography we can also known as public key cryptography. So in this crypto system, we have two keys. So one is public key and private key. So here there may be a number of users in the network. Okay, so whenever they are using asymmetric key cryptography, so each user will be having two keys. Okay, so a pair of keys. Okay, so one is public key and one is private key. Okay, so a key pair will be having both sender as well as the receiver. So in this scenario, we will discuss how the information will be encrypted. Okay, so before transmitting into the communication channel. Now we can say that the asymmetric key cryptography. So here the sender wants to send the message in the unreadable form to the destination. You can say that the receiver B. Okay, so here the A will be having two keys. Okay, so that is a pair of keys, public key and private key. Even the parity, destination parity B will be having two keys, public key as well as private key. Suppose A wants to transmit the message into the B through unsecured channel. Okay, and what is the procedure A will follows and which key is going to use? Okay, obviously here sender A will use the public key of the receiver in order to encrypt the information. Okay, sender A uses the public key of B and encrypt the message, and we will get the ciphertext. The corresponding ciphertext will be transmitted across the channel. Okay, so here receiver will receive the encrypted information. Okay, receiver is B. Okay, so you will receive the information. Okay, so here only the B can decrypt that message, because the private key corresponding to the public key, you will be having only the B. So in the network there may be other parties also like C and D, so they cannot decrypt the information. So because the public key of the B, A is used in order to encrypt, so only the B can decrypt. So you will be having, B will be having the private key in order to decrypt that information. So like that. So even every user will be having unique keys. So it is highly impossible to compromise the security system. So we can say that public key cryptography uh, achieves more security. Okay, so that is one of the advantage. So here also we have one disadvantage in the public key crypto system. So we are going to use different systems. Okay, so it will take so much time and the time complexity in order to generate the keys. So here we have to generate the two keys. One is the private key and the public key, and encryption and decryption operations, it will consume more time as well as complexity. So that is also one of the disadvantage in public key cryptography. The thing is which provides more security. Whenever we require more security, at the time we can use public key crypto system. Okay, let me define some examples of public key cryptography. So the famous public crypto systems, like we have RSA, that is introduced by three cryptographers, Rivest, Shamir and Adelman. And similarly we have ECC, that is elliptic curve cryptography, and we have DSA, that is digital signature algorithm. So there may be a number of public key crypto algorithms will be there in the cryptography part. Okay, so let me discuss one more important crypto primitive that will be required in blockchain technology, that is digital signature. Okay, so what is meant by digital signature, why it is required? So in order to provide the security services like authentication and integrity service, so we need a digital signature. So here how to generate the digital signature? So there are two algorithms. One is digital signature creation and digital signature verification. Okay, the digital signature creation is done by the sender. Okay, so here sender wants to send some important information and confidential information to the other party. You can say B. Okay, and he has to sign that. Now receiver has to receive the message and you want to know who is the sender. He has to authenticate the sender as well. So at that time he will use the signature. Okay, so digital signature. So you have to remember that digital signature which is used to provide the security services like authentication as well as message integrity. Now I will teach you how to generate the signature, the cryptographic digital signature. Now you can see that the A wants to send the message M. Okay, so the message will be hashed. Okay, so there is a hash function. So this is cryptographic hash. So it will take variable length of input and which converts into the fixed string. So we'll get the, for every input, variable length of input, we will get a fixed output, that is called hash function, cryptographic hash function. So we have different types of hash functions. We will discuss in the next slide regarding hash function. Okay, so the message will be hashed. Okay, we can say that h of m, we will get the digest, that is known as message digest. So like the plain text will be converted into the unreadable form, that is fixed string. Okay, so that is digest, message digest. In order to provide the confidentiality to the messages, even we can use the hash functions, right? Okay, then we will get the message digest. The digest will be encrypted using A's private key. Okay, so here sender's private key we are going to use in order to encrypt the message digest. We will get signed digest. This signed digest is known as digital signature. Now the digital signature will be concatenated with the message, the original message as well as the digital signature. So the digital signature contains original message encrypted form, okay, with the key, private key of the sender. Okay, so then message plus digital signature that could be sent to the insecure communication channel and it reaches to the destination, that is B. Okay, here you can see we are going to discuss about digital signature verification algorithm. Okay, so after sending the digital signature by party A, receiver will receive the digital signature along with the message. Okay, so the message will arrive at the destination. Now the B, what he will do, Okay, so the public key, I will use the public key of the A because the public key is public to everyone in the network. So B will be having the public key of A. So with help of public key of sender, B is decrypts the message. Okay, so the decrypts the signature. Okay, so the signature will be decrypted. Then we will get the hash, that is digest, message digest. Simultaneously, okay, so here B will receive the message along with the digital signature. Okay, so now the message will be hashed. So we will get H of M, that is digest. Now we can compare the decrypted digest with the hashed digest. So if both are same, then we can say that so there is no attack. Okay, so the message is not modified, as well as we can authenticate the A. So this message is sent by the intended sender, like this message is arrived by A only, like that. So here we can provide the authentication as well as integrity service. This is about digital signature. Okay, so here let me define cryptographic hash function. Okay, so this is very important in order to provide the confidentiality service. So like I said, the hash function, so it will take variable length of input and which produces the fixed output, that is hash function. So you can see that the input may be a different text, so whatever you can provide the input, variable length of input, the cryptographic hash function which transforms the input into the fixed digest. Okay, so the digest will be fixed. Okay, so the length of the message will be fixed. Okay, so for every uh, given input, variable length of input which produces a unique output. Okay, for example, I'm giving the input AB, so we will get a corresponding hash function. So if you are trying to modify anything in the input, so it obviously changes the output also. Okay, but the length will be fixed. So here hash functions is also known as one-way hash function. So why it is called one-way hash function? Because for a given text, okay, we will obtain the this one digest, the fixed string using the hash function. Okay, for a given hash function, hash output, so we cannot produce the same information. Okay, that's what we can call it as one-way hash function. Okay, for a given message, it is easy to compute hash value. Okay, by obtaining the hash value. Okay, so if you have the hash value, if you want to get back the original text, that is not possible. Okay, so that's what we can call it as one-way hash functions. These one-way hash functions are very important in cryptography as well as in blockchain technology. Okay, so here we will discuss a few more cryptographic primitives like cryptographic nonce and timestamp. Okay, let me define what is mean by nonce. Okay, so cryptographic nonce is a random number. Okay, so the number is generated only once, that is nonce. This can be used in the cryptography part. Okay, so this is random number also very important. Okay, so the number will be randomly generated. Okay, so it can be used along with the hash function, or it can be used along with the crypto systems in order to achieve the security. And one more crypto primitive we have, timestamp. Okay, so a sequence of characters are encoded information identifying when a certain event occurred, usually giving date and time of a day, sometimes accurate to a small fraction of a second. So here timestamps are required. So in the blockchain technology, whenever the contract has been deployed, whenever the transaction is happened, at the time timestamp will be recorded. Okay, what time the transaction is happened along with the date and time with the seconds. So this information is very important in order to avoid the replay attacks in the networks. So in this tutorial we have discussed the cryptographic primitives required in the blockchain. In the next tutorial, so I will define what is meant by blockchain and architecture of the blockchain. Thanks for watching.